Whether you are on an adventure or at the downtown cafe, your answers are no more than a sniff away. Dog Training 360's purpose is simple: to teach you why dogs do what they do, as well as the action steps you need to take to have better communication, connection, consistency, and conceivability with your dog. There's always a time where you feel like you would like to hire a trainer, or you feel like behaviorally you need to hire a trainer, or somebody tells you, "Oh, I had a trainer," and then you kind of can go into a big rabbit hole of finding the right trainer. Mm-hmm. And there was I had a conversation with a friend of mine today that he's turning down quite a few people that want training because he just doesn't have the time. And a lot of the forums that he's on, people are tired of, the shot collar trainer that's in their area, and it's not local here. It's, and there's only one trainer out there, and she's a shot collar trainer. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. But I believe that you have to be able to be diverse enough to help all kinds of dogs and have a big toolbox from a trainer. So I'd like to talk about even selecting and finding a trainer that fits you and not feeling like you're stuck, because there's a lot of ways to get your dog trained, and there's a lot of ways to figure out how to train your dog. Mm-hmm. And that was our biggest motivation with creating our online training platform, is that it truly is us doing it, and it's our style, and you can request whatever fits your style, and we'll do it. So that was the drive for that, because I find that people feel like they get stuck and, they don't connect with the right person.
I think it's hard, because where do we start out looking for places now? On the internet, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going and looking at these websites, and they're all the same. Mm-hmm. They all have the same information on them for the most part. Yeah. And so then you're in this kind of place where you're like, well, what if I call this trainer, and then I spend all this money, and then I don't like them, right? And then I have to go to a different place. Yeah. And so how do we tell from the internet, which are the people that we should try out and call first?
Right. Yeah. And I think, Shannon, it's, first of all, there's a lot of, word of mouth stuff that get on the internet, read and see what's out there, and then start talking to people.
Absolutely.
That you connect with, that you have like-minded thought processes of life. Mm-hmm. And if they have used a trainer that they really like, or have used a trainer that they don't like, and then my next suggestion would be, just because you're referred doesn't mean that it's going to be the right fit either. Mm-hmm. And so finding the right trainer is really, I think, a journey that you have to go on. Mm-hmm. And also be patient with. I know when people have a feel of emergency of,
oh, they need to get it fixed right now.
Yeah.
And so we need to call someone and get them to come tomorrow.
Somebody. And so you have to be patient through it, because, one, as a trainer, we're busy training dogs too. And it's not that we're too busy to take on new clients. It's that we're out training dogs. And sometimes we finish after hours, and, it takes us a couple of days to call back. But be patient, because that may be the right trainer for you.
Right.
And I believe that finding the right trainer for you is really, it's such a connection, and the trainer is so much a part of your life that you have to be willing to share some intimate things about your life with that person. And you feel
like you're not going to be judged about it. Because that's what holds people back from us helping them, is they're afraid to tell us the things that are bothering them, or these parts of their life, because they think that we're going to judge them.
Right.
And we really don't care. We want to help the best that we can.
Right.
We really do need to know that stuff about your life to be able to help you. So, I mean, it's hard to say, don't be self-conscious, but try to
but understand that that's the whole, if you feel comfortable with that person of, to tell him that, hey, my husband and I don't sleep in the same bed, and the dog sleeps with him because I can't stand to sleep with the dog. so, you have to be like, is this a person I can tell that to, and they're not going to judge me for having my dog or my husband sleep with the dog, or, whatever that is. And are you going to judge me if my dog is, getting on the counter? Well, that's why we're here. So it's important to feel a true connection. And I think you can feel that connection, whether it's on the phone or in person. And I think that just asking the right questions, even, of, everybody asks, what's your training philosophy? And, that's really the biggest one. Like, so, here's what I have, and what's your training philosophy? And I don't know that should really be a thing.
I think that's just what people know about.
Right.
Because if you look up things or you read things, like books are categorized, like books of dog training are categorized by the method, right? Like, because, I don't know, not a lot of people write books that's overarching. You know, like they write just about clicker, or they write just about e-collar. Yeah. When you go in the bookstore section, like that's what there is. Right. Right. So I think it's just they don't know what to ask, other than they know that there's different books of different kinds of training. You know what I mean? There are different methods, and they don't know whatever they're doing if their dog isn't working. Yes. So. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that, some questions to ask really is, one, I think, tell me about your dogs. How do you train your dogs as a trainer? What things do you feel like you let your dog get away with that that people don't know about a trainer? I think those things are the answer to, can I be comfortable with this person? Because when people hear that, well, I let my dogs get on the bed, they have to earn it, and there's got to be a level of, responsibility on their part of how we are on the bed, where Caroline gets up and it's just a big party and she's pulling blankets all over. So then you don't get to get on the bed yet, you know, or you get to get up here until you decide that's what's going to happen. Then you can get down and get on your bed. But Patsy gets up and she lays down and snuggles in, and, so she gets to stay on the bed. And so, things that you think that maybe trainers don't let their dogs do, I think it's a good question.
And it lets you see them like as a person.
Yes.
A person that owns a dog.
Right.
That can help you.
Yes. And that's something that nobody has ever asked me until they get a couple of lessons in, and they're like, oh, so tell us about your dog, and then they finally get, braver. I'm like, oh, I let my dogs do that. Or, we're not perfect as far as with our dogs, but it doesn't mean that we don't have the knowledge either. But those are also things that you have to think about of, well, I want this, or, I don't want that for my dog. And what's, what is their answer to that? I think another really good question that people, they don't ask is, why are you training? Why are you a dog trainer? Because it doesn't matter what my philosophy is, but if my intention is because, I believe that people suck and they cause all kinds of problems with their dogs, and, it should be this way. Well, maybe that's how you feel, and maybe that's the trainer that you're going to connect with. Or maybe it's the trainer that says, because I care enough about the people to want to help them with their dog, because their dogs are amazing. Whatever that answer is, does it resonate with you, and can it stick with you?
Because you might be looking for a trainer that's like a really hardcore obedience trainer. Like that you want this hardcore, like competition level obedience. And if you're asking the trainer and they're like, oh, I just like the dogs to be zen and harmonious, and that is not going to work out for you. That you are going to clash personalities, and then you might call a place and say, oh, I do competition obedience with my dogs. I compete in it, and that's really how I got in, because I started doing it with my dog. I really, really liked it, and I want to share that with other people. When your dog has competition level obedience, yada, yada, and then since that's what you're looking for, that's a good match.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. So I think it's really, the whys and the hows and what's your philosophy on discipline. Because something that I hear all the time from people that have gone with, purely positive trainers is they never learn how to discipline their dog, and they get frustrated because we all need discipline in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that's an important question. If you can train a dog 100% with positive reinforcement, absolutely. But there has to be a level of being okay telling your dog no. And how do you tell your dog no is important. And so that's the biggest thing that I get from people that have gone with positive reinforcement people is, but we don't know how to discipline them. They're great, and it lays a fantastic foundation. So think about that. Does it matter if your dog is jumping on people and jumping on the counters and getting into garbages and what your home life is? That's fine. That's your own journey with your dog. But if you truly want to be able to discipline your dog, you should have the right answer for you to go with that trainer. And I think that becomes, the trends and people following trends of what we should be doing and what's right and what's wrong. And I've just started with a client that has been through 2 trainers, and nothing has worked for them. And so, when I walked in and said, we're going to need at least 6 months of training to fix this, they were a little set back, from it, because it's not just 6 lessons.
Yeah. Well, and
this
they already
is a journey.
had, a journey of training with multiple people.
Yeah. So, and they didn't know. They trusted the people that told them, do this. And the one situation involves a trainer that really messed up the dog because they forced the dog into something that was not okay for the dog. It wasn't a bad situation in general, but it was not a good situation for that dog. And it was in the perfect prime time of a lot of fear and a lot of stuff happening that it just was not. It was the perfect storm to mess up a dog. And so it's been hard for them to, trust trainers. And they had got my name from 4 different people in the community, and they felt like, okay, there's so many people saying this about you. I spent almost 2 hours with them before, they finalized, and we finalized what the direction is that they were going in. And so, it's a personal thing. It's not just get on the internet and pick a trainer. I mean, it really is a personal thing, I feel like.
I do too. And I mean, I think, who would you rather work with? Someone that you call and they say, oh yeah, I train dogs, it's this much money, call me back when you decide, and then they hang up. Or someone that's like, what are you thinking you want with your dog?
Yeah.
Spending 2 hours to decide what's the right thing for a dog is a lot more personal relationship than, oh, I think your dog needs to be trained. You can call me back next week if you decide you want to do that.
Yep.
A dog is a personal part of our life.
Yeah.
They're a part of our family.
Yep.
So for some people, they're their children.
Right.
And you have to have a personal connection with the dog and with the person that's helping you train him to integrate him into your life in the way that most people have the expectation of doing.
Right. Yeah. And I think that it's, I think that having a trainer that will spend the time with you to figure it out, or a trainer that's honest with you that says, this is above and beyond me, go here, or I don't have the facility. I've had people call me with really, really severe aggression cases where the dog has literally latched on to people and severe dog aggression stuff that I don't have the facility to expose these dogs in the right situation. And I've referred them on to, some of the other trainers that, they have a better setup and your dog's going to be more successful in that environment than organically, because organically can sometimes just get us in trouble.
Yeah.
Because we don't have control over the environment.
And we don't want the dog to continue to fail because it just enforces a bad behavior.
Right. So I think that having, somebody that's willing to refer to another trainer, I think that's heavy. I think that's, that's the responsible thing to do. So, like I said, I've done it. Jessica, who's been on our podcast, she's referred a couple of people out to, people that want to do bite work, and, we can do it, but we're not set up to do that. And that's not, what we do,
focus.
But we don't just say, oh, I don't know, good luck. We try and help people.
Yeah.
On my podcast, or not on my podcast, but on Dog Talk Tuesday last week, a gal asked if there was anybody that did agility locally, and, that she just was having a hard time finding somebody. And, and I sent her, a couple of people. We have agility equipment, and all of a sudden I could have set it up and made the money off of it, but I'm not set up to do that. And I have no problem referring to people. And it could be a risk of them going and doing agility and training with them, but that's not what it's about. So I think those are important things to, even ask a trainer, what situation would you refer to another trainer? Even, are they willing to do that? And so I think that it's not an easy thing, and it shouldn't be an easy thing to just, call and just go with it. I think that
call more than one person.
Yeah.
Call more than one person and have a conversation and think about it over like a week, maybe,
right.
Before you invite them to come to your home, or, because we talk to people on the phone all the time, right?
Right.
And some people, you just like them immediately as soon as you call, and you're like, why isn't this person working there all the time? Like you call the doctor's office, or these places we call the pharmacy,
right?
And someone just answers the phone, and you just like instantly like them. Yeah. You kind of need to call around to find that for yourself,
right?
When you're looking.
And I think that comes back to, some of our previous podcasts of, being your dog's advocate and, doing the right thing, and that it's your choice, and it's, and you need to feel right with it, so the dog feels right with it as well. And I would like to end, today's podcast of a quote that it's not really like a quote of anything. I'm listening to a book, and in the book she said something, and it says, having a dog in your life means that you've been touched by a beautiful mystery. And that resonated with me, because they are a beautiful mystery. They throw things at you, and you're like, wow. And so I think that choosing a dog trainer, I feel like no matter where you go and who you choose, really needs to have that feel to them, because they are a beautiful mystery. And it's not a cookie cutter thing. And so having a trainer that has that can switch with you, and that can go with what your philosophy is, one, it tells you the experience of the trainer. And two, it means that they care enough that everybody is different or unique in their own way.